Hello ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Welcome back and casting another game today for you. Wow, that's botched opening. I'm not going to redo this one though. Casting another game for you today. This time it is between Mouse's Naama and Empire Kaz. This is actually game number 2 between these two players, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. Looking forward to this match. Last matchup between these two was really cool. Kaz didn't end up coming out victorious. We saw a nice contain from him, and even though Naama ended up pushing out against that contain, he didn't have enough forces and actually took a lot of heavy losses to some just bad tank timing. He wasn't able to get his tanks up in siege mode, and a bunch of Marines ended up mopping them up. And right off the bat, looks like Naama is going to be putting a depot down here right by this back entrance. The idea in this is to create some sort of a wall off in case he does get like a Hellion drop back here. He will be able to contain it a little bit. It's also going to control the flow into and out of this expansion just by having about 2 depots up. So that's another thing that does as well. That's another benefit that it provides. Both players are going to be interested to see what they end up going for opening. Last game, Kaz went no gas into early expansion, and Naama ended up actually going early gas and late barracks for some early teching up. But no, it looks like we're seeing a 12 barracks from both players, in fact. So both players thus far opening up pretty standard. Gonna be interested to see if Kaz does get that refinery or if he tries for that early expansion again in this game. So already my question has been answered, dropping that refinery right now. Same thing happening over here for Naama. So both players very standard openings for Terran, and gonna be seeing that orbital command as well as soon as this barracks is finished. It's gonna be the next point that really decides what their choices are and tech paths are gonna be. If they drop a factory right away, if we see a second barracks, or hell, even if we see an expansion come down. That is of course a possibility as well. 1 racks into expand is a pretty viable build. You have to be, of course, careful early game because early pushes could hurt you, but getting something as simple as a bunker can save you from that. So a little chat going on between the two players as well. They both seem to be in friendly spirits, so that's good to see. Orbital command coming down for a little bit late on this orbital command. Naama getting that last SCV before that orbital command. You don't typically see that. Typically what you see is this barrack finishes at 15 supply. You build that Marine, put you at 16, and then that orbital comes at 17. But Naama, in fact, deciding to get that extra SCV. Not sure if that was a mistake or not. It could have very well been, but maybe he was caught up in the chatter between these two players. We do have 1 Marine chilling out right outside of Kaz's base. We do see this 1 scouting SCV moving out for Naama. Unfortunately for him, not going to be able to push into Kaz's base with this Marine here. In fact, the second Marine moving down as well, so making that even more impossible. So moving down right now again with that SCV, it's going to be spotting those 2 Marines, realizing he's unable to push out, going to have to be forced to pull back, and there we go. Marine's going to be trying to chase down that SCV. Unfortunately, though, won't be able to catch up to him, so back up the ramp they go. And look at that. Kaz is going for an early expansion, not in the same way he did last game, but still fairly early as well, and as well coming down with that factory. Now, we can see in getting that expansion, obviously much further behind Naama in terms of the actual building of that factory. Spending those resources into that, definitely putting him behind as to possible units he's have, and at the moment you can see as well behind in that SCV count too, so that played a role as well. Obviously investing 400 resources in expansion is going to pull 400 resources from somewhere else, and in going for that early expansion, also dropping down that bunker. So like I had mentioned, this is what you're going to want to do because you are susceptible to early pushes. So good job there by Kaz. Now inside of Naama's base, what do we have going on? We do have 1 Reaper coming out, nothing out of this factory is yet, dropping a tech lab on that right now, so could be either going for a switch there for Banshees or going up to getting some getting some tanks there. That's quite a possibility as well. SCV being forced to pull back right now, that 1 Marine stopping him from having that Zelnaga tower, and we are seeing this Reaper move out, so definitely going to be trying to get some scouting. If he can move into Kaz's base and find that expansion, it's going to give him a better idea of exactly what's going on. So there goes that Reaper, going to be trying to push up, but some great Marine placement. Going to be pulling back that Reaper, not going to be able to move into the base, and won't be able to go up front either because of that tank placement. Marine's going to be trying to chase down that Reaper, but Reaper is of course faster, so pulling back to the middle, going to be nice and safe. And the Reaper, I think, is going to be trying to find a safe spot to push up, but unfortunately because of Kaz's excellent placement of Marines and that bunker, there's really no place for that Reaper to go. So great anti-Reaper placement there by Kaz. Definitely like to see that. We do have a tank coming out for Kaz as well. Here is that orbital command up now, that second base for him, and before he transfers to an expansion, looks like he's going to be pumping out SCVs, trying to saturate this line, and then once he expands, just probably going to be pulling half those SCVs and bringing them down to the expansion. That is what we're likely going to be seeing. Now over right now inside of Naama's base, that 1 Viking on the way out. We do have a second tank coming out as well, a couple Marines being pushed with, and no upgrades thus far coming for his ground units. Would like to see stim and or combat shield. Did we see either of those things? No, we did not. What did he just spend that Vespian on? Not quite sure. may have been, there we go, that siege tech. So is going for that siege tech before upgrading those bio units. Can't say that that's a bad idea at all. Definitely possible. Definitely could be much more beneficial for him. Obviously in this matchup, getting tanks in siege mode definitely plays a big role in how the game plays out. Proper tank positioning and then having that air control moving forward with the tanks. But he is just at one tank as opposed to these two tanks here from Kaz and a lot of Marines. So Kaz definitely having a stronger army at this moment right now. This Reaper is not going to do too well against those tanks at all, and obviously this Viking, unless he drops down, not going to do much as well either. Taking a few shots from those Marines, unfortunately dropping that Viking down. Viking going to be dropping down for this engagement, going to be taking a couple shots and dropped immediately right there. Forced to pull down some SVs to help with this engagement, going to be attacking and noticing right now that he is outnumbered. Kaz is going to be pulling back those SCVs, helping to even up the numbers at the moment, and is a little bit frightened. He doesn't want to lose unnecessary units. Definitely wants to pull back at this moment. Siege mode just finished right now for Naama, so feeling pretty safe. Going to keep that tank up there. Siege mode also has finished for Kaz as well. Now, the thing to consider at this moment, taking a look at this unit counting station, you know, at this moment, Kaz is in a better position, and Kaz also has taken advantage of that extra SCV production. He's had this command center up for much longer, just right now getting this expansion up as well. We are seeing him move down, transferring this orbital command, and he's going to get that saturated like I mentioned earlier. And here comes a push right now from Kaz, moving down, sieging up his Marines, bringing forward with his Viking to try to get air dominance. Might take out that one Viking, but no, taking a few shots from those Marines. He does kill the Viking, trying to get that repair down. Naama was a little bit late, unfortunately. So this Viking, now he's got the air dominance. We are seeing a drop attempted to go down right now. Naama realizes that there are a lot of tanks on the board, is a little bit concerned, and is going to be moving for a drop inside of Kaz's base. Going to be interested to see how much damage he does there. And where's that dropship going? There we go. So dropship trying to avoid the Viking fire. We do have a lot of Vikings right now. Well, a lot for this point in the game. 2 Vikings early game, and do we have much of any for Naama as well? No, we do not. So no Vikings at the moment for Naama. This is a big problem for Naama. He does not have that air dominance. He has to drop scans just to be able to take out those tanks, and if Kaz pushes forward, that could be a problem. Dropping down here, we are seeing that drop from Naama, moving to the mineral line. This is going to really play a big role in how this game plays out, depending on how much damage he can do. Pushing forward now, at the very same time, we are seeing that tank push go down and shelling out on this tank, so going to be taking heavy losses over there, and this push has been stopped. Enough Marines and tanks managing to take out that, and the Vikings taking out that dropship as well. That one Hellion is still alive, but again, this push going down over here, so just getting enough vision, getting enough range to be able to shell out that orbital command, and Naama is going to be forced to lift that up very shortly. And again, with no Vikings right now, this puts Naama in a very precarious position. He needs to be making Vikings. He needs to try to get some of that air control, or at least get some scans. Right now, there's nothing he can do. He can't push on the siege line. If he brings his Marines forward to kill the Vikings, he's going to lose to tank fire. And really, really tough situation right now, pulling down those SCVs to try to take out those tanks. Not the best, though, taking so much fire. There are 3 tanks on the low ground, and Naama just calls good game. So we really saw kind of the basic fundamentals behind the TVT matchup. The dropping as well as the tank Viking. Those are really the 2 primary things that take place in this matchup, and depending on who can do either more effectively, that's going to obviously decide who wins the game. And we saw this great contain here from Kaz again. We saw a nice contain last game, but this stopped him from being able to mine, and having that air control with those Vikings, there was really nothing that Naama could do about it unless he got some more Vikings himself. Like I mentioned, with these tanks sieged up and the Vikings giving vision to the tanks to give them that extra fire over his opponent's tanks, the Marines can't move forward. They're going to take tank fire, and the tanks can't hit these tanks because they don't have enough vision. So the only thing that Naama could have really done at that point was try to drop a scan. But with the tanks already in siege mode, pushing these tanks forward to try to hit tanks that are already sieged up, well, that's not a good situation, because your tanks take a few shots of fire before they even get sieged up, and then by the time they start doing damage, they're almost dead. So kind of a rough situation to deal with. Unfortunately, like I said, Naama just did not have that air control. Dropping in the back of Kaz's base is a good idea. It's what he wanted to do, but again, the major problem was that Kaz just had enough units over there to defend against it, engaging with those SCVs as well. So it didn't work quite in Naama's favor. It looks like Kaz does take this 2-0 victory in this series. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the game. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and keep watching and keep owning. Break. It's not time for you to talk about your lives. There you go. Kill this expansion, but no, he's probably not going to be able to do enough damage to it. And in fact, we are seeing this drop come down to reinforce this planetary fortress, even though it was probably a little bit unnecessary. Didn't really need to do that. Might be losing the tank, though. That'd be a pretty big loss. Doesn't manage to pick it back up in time, so Kaz not paying quite enough attention, but that is because there was a big push going down over here. Naama breaking that contain, pushing out with everything he had, killing off all of those units, and that is really bad right now for Kaz. Kaz did lose so many many units that he had dedicated to that contain, and we're going to be seeing a big push right now from Naama. Very, very dangerous situation at this point. Is he going to be pushing to the edge of his base, trying to kill off these production buildings? No, it looks like...